it's Cheryl from the Lifestyle Digs. Yes, the wandering house sitter. And one of the places that I have wandered is along the Camino de Santiago in the north of Spain. And the Camino, the traditional route is the Camino Frances, and it starts in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. That's in France, and the first day is in France, and then you walk up the Pyrenees and you cross over a cattle guard, and there you are. You have arrived in Spain. And so that's where the route takes. It takes about 800 kilometers, just a little under 800 kilometers, and that's about 500 miles for those of you that aren't metric. That would be me. Even though I live in a country that's been metric since 1977, I still think in miles because miles is what was on the road when I was learning how to drive. So today I'm talking about a newsletter I received from JourneyWoman. For those of you that aren't familiar with the JourneyWoman website, it's a travel website for women who particularly travel solo, like myself. So a lot of solo women travelers on here to get advice on where to travel. There's all kinds of articles and photos. There are partner companies that offer vacations for women that are traveling alone. Intrepid Travel is quite often one of the partners that I see on the website, and they have one that I really love to go on next year, but I just cannot afford it. And it is a cruise that is going to Antarctica. How fun would that be? But not for me because I just can't afford $14,000 US. Anyway, one of today's in the newsletter I just received, it talks about a trip to the Camino de Santiago in Spain. This is an 8-day trip. It does not include your flights to get yourself to Spain, so you're going to have to pay for your flights to get to Spain. And once you're there, it's an 8-day trip. In Canadian dollars, it starts at $4,049, or in US dollars, $2,900. And that's an 8-day trip in the Camino de Santiago. You say 8 days. Well, how could it be to walk 8 days? You've seen my videos. It took me 37 days, and that was with a couple of rest stops. But something I've also mentioned in some of my videos is this fairly new phenomenon, and it's called bus pilgrims. Bus tourism on the Camino de Santiago is huge. And yes, we have those huge tour buses, but once you get past Seria, the roads are a little bit smaller. The big buses really can't go on them. So the pilgrims, the bus pilgrims, are going on to smaller shuttle buses, the ones that take, probably about 15 to 24 passengers or so. But anyway, let's dig in a little bit deeper on what you can get for your 8 days and 4,000 Canadian dollars, 3,000 US dollars, and that's where it starts at. That's the price, I think, in April and May. The price goes up in June and July by a couple $100 more. And if you've been following the news in the last few years, Spain has been having really unprecedented heat waves, temperatures 30 Celsius easily throughout late September, most of October. When I was walking the Camino, it was quite hot. But anyway, let me just put up a little blurb so you can see what I saw when I looked at the email this morning. Okay, now let's go in a little bit further on what you get for your 4,000 Canadian or 3,000 US. In Bilbao, you meet at, includes your hotel accommodations, and it obviously includes your bus ride. So you get to the first hotel and you meet your tour guide, and you get your welcome meal for the evening. The next day, the bus will take you from Bilbao to Puente la Reina. And yes, I did spend a night there in Puente la Reina. And coincidentally, that is the first place on the Camino that I ran into bus pilgrims. I had an albergue. Those are the dormitories that pilgrims typically sleep in. And they had 38 beds. So there was me, female, 2 men from Switzerland, I believe, and the other 35 beds, they were all Koreans, a mix of men and women. And they were all on buses. And in the morning, there were several tour buses parked out in the street, idling away, belching out the exhaust, waiting for the bus pilgrims to finish lazing around in the morning and come out and get on board the bus. So Puente La Reina, that's where I first spotted all the bus pilgrims. So when I walked the Camino, it was at least 20 kilometers a day. Some days was more, some days a little less. But let's just say average about 20 kilometers. So what do the bus pilgrims walk? They're walking about 6 kilometers, just under 4 miles. That's what the estimate is. And they're basically just walking around Puente La Reina. Then the bus is going to take them to, a drive through the vineyards and other stuff. And then they will get to the town of LaGuardia. Again, same sort of thing. They're walking, 5.5 kilometers, about 3.5 miles, about 90 minutes of walking. And again, they're touring various sites around Navarrete, the monastery, vineyards again. You see a lot of vineyards in the north of Spain. And then they arrive in Burgos. Burgos, it was a very nice town. I really like Burgos. It had a beautiful cathedral there. And yes, one of the options for the bus pilgrims on this trip is that they can visit the cathedral, but it's not included in their 4,000 Canadian dollars or 3,000 US dollars. They have to pay extra if they want to go visit the cathedral. I don't know what the cost is. I did not go in myself. I'm not really all that keen on going inside and looking at churches because I've just seen so many. I've seen so many churches in Spain and other parts of Europe. Yes, pretty look at them on the outside, but paying to go inside them, that's just not of much interest to me today. Now, oddly enough, they're spending the next 2 or 3 nights in Astorga. And yes, again, I spent the night in Astorga, and it is known for chocolate, of all things, chocolate. And there were just tons of chocolate and candy shops all over Astorga. And, like I say, 30 Celsius temperatures, I just couldn't bring myself to buying a chocolate bar as much as I wanted one, or more than one. But I just figured the chocolate was going to melt in my backpack. So there they are in Astorga. They're touring by bus. They're walking 3 miles. They're walking 4 miles. They're not going any great distances like the rest of us are. They're going to go see the Cruz de Ferro. That's the Iron Cross where everybody leaves a stone to, basically it's to leave the burdens of your past behind. So that's why you leave a stone there. Let me just show you a quick video of me leaving my stone at the Cruz de Ferro. Got it? Ready? This is the rock that I got from the house where I grew up in Cloverdale. 5958 182 Street, Surrey, British Columbia, Canada, and I'm going to leave it here behind at the Cross de Ferro in Spain. So I'm not going to hit anybody. There, it's gone. Okay, so Astorga to Santiago de Compostela. They're walking 6 kilometers. Ha! I wish. Trust me, that was quite a few more days and a couple of 100 kilometers maybe. I can't remember now. But anyway, they get to Santiago, and then after Santiago, they are going up to Finisterre. And I also went to Finisterre, and it was pouring rain by the time I arrived in Santiago. So my friend and I, we took a bus to Finisterre, but that's not typically the Camino anymore, even though you can walk it. The pilgrims can continue to walk it, and there's still albergues up in that part of the country. And basically, it is the end of the world. This is where the Europeans used to walk, and they would watch the sun, the Atlantic Ocean, swallow the sun at the end of the day, because the world was flat. So there you go. Staying in 3-star, 4-star hotels, just walking a few miles a day. I've often said that being a bus pilgrim is kind of a cool thing because you walk a little, you ride a bus a lot, and it's really popular. There's a lot of people out there that haven't walked the Camino de Santiago recently, and they say, no, they're not there. But yes, unfortunately, a lot of these bus pilgrims, they are taking up spaces in the bunk beds and the albergues. So it is really difficult sometimes to find a place to sleep for the night, which is a real pain if you're actually putting in the effort to walk along the Camino instead of riding a bus along the Camino trail. And $4,000 Canadian, wow, 3,000 US. I was in Spain for 3 months, and I would guess that 4,000, I may not have even spent $4,000 in the 3 months that I was there. And that includes my airfare from London, returning back to London, and all the albergues, which are probably 10 to 20 euros a night, my food every day. And then, of course, when I went to Portugal, the hotels were more expensive. I was staying with a friend. We split the cost, but now we're in hotels, nice hotels, our own private room and private bath. We did some touring around Portugal. We parted ways. She had to get back to the States, so she went back to Madrid to catch her flight home. I continued on to I wanted to see the Rock of Gibraltar, so there I saw the Rock of Gibraltar. And then I spent probably about a month in the south of Spain. So there you go. I can't see spending that much money for a 1 week trip. I just can't. When I look at that, I spent $4,000 probably in 3 months in Spain. My accommodations, my food, my entertainment, like the Rock of Gibraltar. How entertaining was that to climb up that rock? Mediterranean steps, pretty challenging, but I had just finished the Camino and I was in pretty good shape at the time, so no problem, or so I thought, but I wouldn't do it again. But I just can't afford that kind of money for private tours. So that's why I'm a DIYer. I figure out my own journeys. I figure out where I'm going to stay, what I'm going to eat, and all my transportation. And I can do it for significantly less than what this 1 week bus tour costs. But I just wanted to bring it up and add it to my Camino de Santiago playlist. So thanks for watching today, friends. This is Cheryl from the Lifestyle Digs, the Wandering House Sitter, signing out for now. Bye-bye.